Hello there, YouTube. So I decided what I was going to do my video on today, and if you're unaware, Antifa had a little bit of a demonstration at G20, which is in Hamburg, which was a meeting of all of 20 of the greatest economic forces of countries in the world. You know, America, Germany, France, Britain, so on, so forth, etc. But the thing, I'm not going to go on another tirade about Antifa because I feel like everything that I needed to say about them was done in that rant that I said I was going to take down and decided not to because, well, quite frankly, now I can just go, you want to know how I really feel about them? Look at the rant. You'll hear every piece of information you need to know from my own personal perspective. But I figure now is the time to look further into their mentality and understand that they're essentially anarcho-communists. Now, anarcho-communism, to anybody that understands what anarchism and communism is, would look at it and be like, but wait a minute, aren't they essentially the exact opposite? In communism, you have the government that controls every aspect of your life. In anarchism, they control none of your life. So how exactly could this work? Quite frankly, it can't. Anarchism in of itself will never be able to work. And that boils down to the simple thing I like to call it the human condition. You see, we are biologically wired to have certain incentives and certain actions and reactions to certain things that happen in our life. So, inevitably, even if you were to completely abolish our government in the world, eventually it would happen again. Because we, as people, as human beings, have a tendency to take, and it happens naturally without any plannable path. And you can't map it out because it changes. It depends on the situation. But we always end up putting people in charge because at the end of the day, somebody has to be responsible for things that go on in society. And I know there are such things as anarcho-capitalists as well. And same thing, it won't work because eventually it will turn into the same thing, the society that we have now with nations and borders and governments and you name it, it would probably mimic, not necessarily the exact same thing as far as borders go, but it would happen. Now, why do I have such a hard-on for anarcho-communism specifically? Quite frankly, because I can't fucking stand communism. It is a garbage it is a garbage way of thinking. It's a stupid ideology that has been tried multiple times, and every time it's tried, it's failed. The USSR, Venezuela, even China's a fucking shithole in of itself. Every time that it's tried, it fails. Marxism, Karl Marx, was a lazy human being who let his kids die. His ideal was essentially that I'm a smart person, therefore you owe me money. Instead of the capitalist ideal, which is I have a product, you need it, you pay me for that product. You provide a service, I pay you for that service. Am I saying that capitalism is perfect? No. Once again, human condition. The human condition being that humans ourselves are not perfect. And we create the flaws within these societies. Because in a grandiose world of rainbows and unicorns, communism could work. But it won't. It never will. It will always devolve into the exact same thing that we have in Venezuela. Because once a group of people gets into power, these politicians run all the money, they run all the businesses, and they don't give a damn what happens to the common man. You really think that Bernie Sanders living in his 3 fucking households give 2/10 of a fuck about the average American citizen? No, he doesn't. I'm not saying that Trump does, but at least, you know, Bernie Sanders is one of those people that fucking pretends like he actually gives a shit. But I digress. Before I go on a tirade about that communist, green on the outside, run on the inside, son of a bitch, but that's besides the point. In closing, and I realize this is going to be a lot shorter, well, not necessarily a lot shorter, but shorter than my average videos have been as of late, but I'm kind of pining for something to talk about, and this just happened to come into my periphery relatively recently, and I have a whole lot of time to research the subject, so I'm going off of free thought and free form, like actually how I started the channel with, but these people in Antifa are advocating for a group, or not advocating for a group, but are advocating for a way of thinking and a way of government that would essentially turn them into second-class citizens. And the sooner that they discover that, the sooner that they will become essentially smarter people. Now, the only thing that I can seem to think of that would put these kind of men, the way that they think, into a meme, if you will. A picture of an Antifa member with an iPhone with with a little sticker on the back that says "fuck capitalism," and they're taking a picture of themselves with it. You, as a person, you should be able to look at that and be like, that is incredibly ironic. It's just the way that it is. Anyway, in closing, I will be back at it Wednesday with something else. If you have something in particular you'd like for me to rant about or talk about and give my opinion on, you can leave it in the description box. If you want to call me a cunt, you can also do that. The wonderful world of free speech. Anyway, I will see you guys Wednesday, and have a great morning, afternoon, evening, and or night. And I will see you later.